You're live. Shit. How do I flip it? Flip it around. There we go. Okay. Okay. Looking good. Why don't you just hit a few shots for us?
Spinning up in the air.
right? If you're a bogey golfer, you need the putt face to be in a certain range to keep you in the golf course. Which is got down to he's basically a scratch golfer. Pretty good and his pretty much his size. And of course, he's got his range also. It's a tighter range than it is. But he's got to keep it in. So right now the ball is getting away from him. So we're going to try to try to tackle some piece of this thing. My feeling is we're just going to have to work with grip setup and a little bit on the cut path and cut plane. But I think we're going to be able to leave things out better than that. So I think it's clear as get set up to take the shot. And that looks like it's a 90 degrees to face the camera without touching it. And you can get rid of that thumb off habit that's starting to creep in. That's no good. So why don't we push in a little bit just for a second on how you've been gripping it, and now I get to tear you apart here on this grip you've been using lately. So I certainly didn't teach you this grip somehow, and this is why it's so hard to become and maintain being a good golfer, is because stuff slips over time. You slowly slide into bad habits. Rish has not been playing long enough. 3 years now? So 2.5 years he's been playing, and he's already a scratch golfer. So the ceiling is unlimited for him. But you can see this grip, it's the same grip you might find on Hogan, the cover of Hogan's five lessons. So we can see here point right to the right, the crease in the right hand is pointing right up at the chin. Take your right hand off and just leave that. And see, the thumb is at 12 o'clock, and that crease is pretty much straight up the chin. So this is what we would call classically a weak grip that would tend to be slice biased. So everybody out there, you can check your grip at home right now, and you can kind of see, hey, what does my grip look like? Because if you're slicing the ball and you've got this grip, then certainly could make some improvements on that. So we're going to start here. Of course, we're going to piece this together with a couple other things, because changing the grip by itself, at least in this case, is going to lead to some wilder shots at first until we fix the rest. Let's put ourselves back here. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, so far. I appreciate. We're going to get some hopefully really good fundamental stuff to cover for you today. And thanks for the 2 thumbs up. If you are getting some value out of this, don't forget to hit the like button. All right, what we're going to do first. Rish was already hitting it fairly straight. What would be the first thing that you'd expect to do if we had I'd expect you to turn everything over and pull hook with right hand. So turn your right hand under more. Of course, it's very easy to slip back as you wiggle the club and get ready. Okay, so I expect this to hook pretty good. Yep, there we go. Well, we fixed that problem, didn't we? You're never going to miss right again. Now we replaced it with this and left. So, as predicted, remember we have some balancing to do that'll go together with this grip change. Okay, turn both hands over there. Just go really, really deep. So I talked about this one here. So you're looking for a full hour, and if it all hooks, it hooks. We don't care right now. That's fine. Now, what you're probably going to feel so the ball is going super wide left because the face is closed, as predicted. I'm not going to, this is going to be kind of a multi-segmented session here. The first feeling you're going to get is, oh, that's so sad. What you're seeing there is, remember we had a spin loft issue. We had a 6 iron at the spin loft and like a 7.5 iron. And so a 7 or an 8 iron does not compress the ball as much as a 6 iron. So compression is essentially spin loft. If you hit the center, the lower the spin loft of the club, the more it compresses the ball. So now he's feeling, with these hook shots, the face closed, the compression of a 5 iron or a 4 iron, which feels a lot more meaty. See some fingernails and knuckles on the right hand. It's still a little weak. I'll take what I can get. We probably have to go more. It's okay. It's okay to go enough to where every shot is terribly rough. So we're like taking 90-degree lefts. He doesn't have a hook grip, so he was doing something to compensate for the weak slice of grip. Now that sounded really solid. You were hitting shots, and I think we had most of them like 6, 7. Feels like tremendously inside out. I'm going to give you left shoulder, buddy. This is very easy for people if you're watching. This is you to make the best inside out swing. You can overdo it if you want. Forgot to put the... Okay, sorry about the sound, guys. Let's hope that's fixed. Give a thumbs up or a comment if you can hear us pretty well now. Okay. All right. So just let's recap, since we might not have had the sound working. And again, this is a grand experiment. I haven't gone live on YouTube in a little while. So we'll do a little recap since the people watching, you haven't heard exactly what we're talking about. We've been talking about how we're going to cover this session. We're going to cover grip and setup and club path, some kind of basic stuff. And we talked about how hard it is. Now this is Rish. Rish is going into 9th grade. He's a scratch golfer already after 2.5 years of playing. He's a perfect example of how hard it is. It's hard enough to get to be a good golfer, but even harder yet to maintain that level of the quality of play. It's very easy, as we're going to show you what Rish has done here, and we'll recap it, what he's done that's kind of had him slide. And so there's certain aspects of his game he's just struggling with just a little bit. So you're going to go back and show him your original grip again.
Okay.
And I'm going to, yeah, okay, so stay there. I'll push the camera in again onto that grip. Thanks for bearing with us, everybody. This is, again, a grand experiment. Okay, so we're pushing in on the grip here. And we'll push even closer. And I'll show you what I was talking about before. And so what you're looking at here is very similar grip to what you're seeing on the cover of like Hogan's 5 Lessons. And you can see the highlights there. If I put my finger right here, the right hand crease is kind of pointing straight up at the chin. And then if you were to take your right hand off the club, you can see the thumb is pretty much at 12 o'clock. And the crease between the thumb and the rest of the hand is also kind of going straight up at the chin. And so this is what we just call a classical weak grip. And so that's the first thing we would look at. So what we're talking about with Rish today is that it's very similar to a lot of people out there watching. And that is, his path is outside in. It's a little bit too down and across. So if you're a slicer or you're lacking in distance, those are two really great things to examine, is your grip and the path of your swing. So if we were to take this stick here, and we'll over exaggerate this, but his club is essentially moving in this direction too much, down and across through the impact zone. And of course, when you add that together with the weak grip, you're going to get shots that spin a lot and tend to miss off to the right. So you can confirm that your lousy shots have been kind of leaking out to the right.
Yeah.
Of course, he's going to have a tighter range for his club face than, say, a bogey golfer. It doesn't matter. It just needs to be relatively good to your level of play or your expectation. But it's been leaking to the right and then sometimes kind of pulling. And your driver's been spinning up in the air and you've been losing distance compared to your best ever. And so that's what happens when we're getting too much spin loft. So he's hitting a 6-iron right now, but he's been hitting it with the spin loft of almost an 8-iron. So it means that the ball is going to spin up in the air. It's not going to feel as compressed. It's not going to go as far. And that goes together with the open face missing it to the right. So today we're going to do a few kind of basic fundamental things to kind of shore these numbers up and get the ball flight more penetrating, true, longer, especially with the driver off the tee. We really want to get the distance cranked up on that. So let's show them now what we're going to do with the grip. We'll push in again and you can turn and face. Here we are with Rish. We're gonna be cut. Thank you so much for the likes, everybody. Okay, so see what he's done now. So now he's pretty much at a neutral grip, and I want to show you what I mean by that. You can see the right hand, the non-glove hand, is the crease is now running up just inside his arm to the inside of his shoulder. And now you can take that off and show him okay. So I think, yeah, you turn the left hand over a full hour and you tighten the crease between the thumb and the side of the hand, so it's like really, really tight. Yeah, and the thumb's at 1 o'clock. And of course, what we experienced first, before we got our sound going, was a lot of closed face hooks, which we'd expect. If we just took 30 or 40 yards of slice out of his, let's say, the system, then the first few shots are certainly going to go left. And so we're just sacrificing a few range balls, cracking a few eggs. So go ahead and turn both hands, especially the right hand, turn it under more. And let's see another one of those hook shots. Okay, but again, yeah, the shot is out of play, certainly, and but it's predictable. It's going left because all of a sudden the face is much more closed than it was. Again, that sounded different.
Yeah.
9 out of 10 again?
Yeah.
Okay, so the quality of the strike is much higher. It is much more highly compressed. It has a very different sound to it than before. And so what we did next was, I want you to show them where your shoulders were going just now before we did anything. Okay, so we're going, we're going right at the palm tree. If you can see the palm tree on your screen, we're going about 30 feet right at that. But look where his shoulders are. His shoulders are 30 feet left of the palm tree. So his shoulders might be 50, 60 feet open. And of course, that's really going to affect path. So we're going to turn him square. Now, I'll bet you this feels like we're overdoing it.
Yeah.
So when you look up, you're like, oh my God, it's right. But when you look down, you're like, there's no way. I have to be overdoing this. So what I want him to do now is, remember, we have some path to play with. He was averaging about 5 degrees out to in. Now I want you to square the shoulders, and I want you to swing inside out intentionally. Okay, great. Do that a couple more times, and then we'll start talking about the club face. But certainly, we're going to see less spin on these and more compression. Turn right more and swing into out a lot. Okay, so severely closed face. That grip is really doing a number on you at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Thank you. You can see if you have a really weak grip, you'll have to do a lot of shaft twisting to get the club face square. Okay, turn right more and swing way rightwards. Okay. Getting there. So a joke we could say would be, hey, Rish, you're not missing right anymore, are you?
No.
We took care of that. Now we just need to have you play around the Indianapolis 500 track for now. Okay, so strong grip, rightward shoulders between first and second base, if you're on a baseball diamond, and swinging way and out. Okay, so he's already starting to make a little adjustment to the face, so that wasn't a big snapper. Quality of strike there?
7.
7, but yet that still sounded different. Would you say that was like a groove low?
Yeah.
Okay, so a tiny bit thin, but I'm still hearing a different sound on that one. I'm hearing compression, even though the ball was mishit. The ball did not peak as high. It's more of a penetrating shot. It's being hit more correctly. Okay, turn right and swing way right. Okay, good. Even that is probably flying as far, and that was like a 5, right?
Yeah.
That's probably flying as far as the good ones were flying early on. Okay, see some knuckles in your right hand and thumb and fingernails in your right hand, so your right hand's got to go under a bit more. Feels so weird It's not a strong grip though. It's really getting close to neutral. Now swing rightwards. Okay, so excellent job with the swing shape. Let's do a shoulder check on this one. You're going to get set up in there. See some knuckles and fingernails. Your right thumb will be touching the edge of the G, probably. Yeah, right about there. And show me square shoulders. We'll do a little check here. And if anything, yeah, you might be a degree closed, which is great. Swing in to out a bit. So now we just have to get rid of some of the twist in the shaft. So hand me that for a second, or no, you keep it, I'll grab one of yours. Just want to show everybody, if you've got a weak grip, which would look more like this. So there's a pretty weak grip. If you're coming in, you're gonna have to twist the shaft generally more than somebody with a strong grip. Somebody with a stronger grip almost has to go release under with their right forearm. They certainly can't twist the shaft, but a weaker grip, you're gonna have to twist the shaft generally to get that thing to square up. Otherwise, you're gonna have some slice built into your swing. Of course, if you've been doing it long enough, and we just kicked the kickstand out from the motorcycle, now all of a sudden he's feeling like the equation is in balance. We've just upset equilibrium here. All right, swing rightwards. And again, I'm hearing crazy smash factor there. It's a different sound. It's a deeper booming sound. I bet you didn't feel like you hit it that dead center. Where'd you rate that one?
I'd feel like 8.5.
8.5. But you're hearing a different quality in all the shots warming up. So obviously, the face must be terrifically closed. The path is better. We're certainly seeing less spin loft from the grip and the path. But now he's using the same twisting motion to the shaft as he was when he was outside in with the weak grip, just to keep the ball from really going right. So let's go through a little bit more what we want to feel coming on through here. Is going to be a little more of that feeling there. So we're flapping it through like with the face more upwards. And we're just going to play with that feel. It's going to be a feeling that's going to match the new grip. It's just a feeling of a different release of the hands. So turn right more, swing right, and show me that release. Okay, so first ball swinging, we're almost dead on target. We're maybe 10, 15 feet right. But see, that is a different sound and it's a different flight. High launching, but much lower backspin. It's one thing to have nice backspin on an iron, but once you start getting excessive amount of backspin, it just costs you distance, especially if it's coming with, losing the ball way to the right. Okay, turn right just a bit more. You're swinging inside out in your mind. And much better. So we're starting to bring the dispersion in now, and he'll just have to play with how much of the hands feeling like they're going over and how much they're going under. It might feel a little more like this if you strengthen your grip. So if your grip is more like this, it's more of a hook bias. And so the release has got to be a little bit different. Turn right with the shoulders, feel like you're across second base. Okay, so at least we're no longer missing off the golf course.
Yeah.
Now that's further than most of the shots, and that was not well struck. It was like 7 at the most.
Yeah.
7 at the most. It was like a groove and a half low, and yet now he's getting the distance that he should be getting out of this club. Super. That didn't even sound amazing.
Like
7.5,
half a groove low. 7.5.
7.5. That looked like mid 170s to me in the air. So, what's a great formula? really good formula for how far your iron should be carrying would be take your 7-iron, take your club head speed and double it, and a really good shot should go about that far in the air. So if you were swinging, say 75 miles an hour with your 7-iron, it should carry 150 or so. Depends on the set of clubs you're using and how juiced the lofts are and how much trampoline effect you have, but that's a pretty good rule of thumb. So if you're not getting that, if you're hitting 75 miles an hour but getting 130, then it's something you should look at. And what's going wrong that's making me lose 20 yards? Okay, a little stronger in the grip now. Good. A little more cross court with the shoulders. Okay. Now, see, that's flying so much flatter. Look at that, look how far that went.
Yeah.
That might have been 175 plus carry on that one.
Uh-huh.
Because the spin loft is so much lower. Now, you think we're crazy not wanting a ton of spin, you know, bringing down spin on irons, but when it comes to the driver, this is going to probably put 25 yards back onto his drives, especially into the wind. So we'll see that in a second. A little stronger on the grip, especially the right hand. The right hand appears to be the most resistant to change. And then we're going to go across towards first base and release it. Great. So with the wind blowing right to left, you're only missing that, 20, 25 feet left. That's only maybe 1.5 degrees closed to the path more than we need it to be. So that's, the misses are getting closer now that we've kind of adjusted the release a little bit. Don't let your grip slip, especially the right hand. We're going to try to make it, you know, if anything, you're missing on the side of being too strong right now. And then you're going to turn right and feel like you're swinging pretty far into out. Okay, good. Again, I hear like maybe a groove low.
Yeah.
But the ball is just sailing. So to me, that had the spin loft of more like a 5-iron than an 8-iron, which it was before. So why don't we now, we'll pause and we'll take a little slow-mo video of that here. Okay, so just a little closed on the face again. It looks to me like you're picking up between 10 and 15 yards on the irons here. So let's take a look at this guy. What would be interesting, because we know that your swing was a bit too down and across, right?
Yeah.
So let's take a look at this one now. I'll bet you that this is fixed. A little above. Not bad. Not bad there. Okay. So you can see the toe going over quite a bit. And the exit is going a little more straight ahead, and then it's up at the top of the shoulder. So yeah, this is a swing that would cause the ball to hook on a bad day, like you're just doing right now. The club face is square to your left arm, forearm now though. The club face is very square. So the shape of the swing, and this might be, you know, episode 2, we might go into. And when I cut this up, I'll put this swing in there. You'll be able to see what we're looking at right now. I mean, what the hands are doing is great. I love what the wrists look like right there, and the elbow is tucked in. Looks a lot like somebody like a Victor Hovland or anybody else out on tour. You can see the toe is over just a little bit. The handle is exiting a little bit too straight ahead. I'll tell you what, you know, this is a little bit more for the better golfer out there, this tip, but it's a little problematic. What we're looking at is that he's a little bit above the plane at the top, so just a little bit above. Now, why is it, this by itself is not problematic. Scotty Scheffler, Jack Nicklaus, they're a little bit above the plane, but they were playing a little bit outside in and hitting a fade too. The thing is that they're so big and strong that, you know, Scotty Scheffler can play, you know, a high spinning fade, and he's 180 ball speed, very big, strong guy, and they have plenty of distance. But when you're 110,
Yeah.
110 pounds, and you're going to start competing against people that are much bigger, stronger, older, at least for now in his career, it'd probably be better to chase a little bit more distance for the next couple years. So maybe not strong and tall enough yet to be playing a high spinning kind of low climbing drive. He's probably going to get outdriven by a lot. All right, right turn, a little stronger in the right hand. Okay, great. Okay, that's fine. So that's a result of the shape of the swing, and like I said, that is what I wanted to give everybody a little tip on. Is if you're above the plane like this, that's fine. You can play good golf from here. Just understand that probably your best result, your best chance from here is to go ahead and swing down from outside in and just play the fade from the outside in. The golfer who will be a better golfer, will be more of a single digit, who's above the plane and wants to hit an inside out draw from here. I think you'll find it more problematic to control the face, because the first thing this club has to do is it has to drop down to get on the level of the ball. Otherwise, you're trying to play inside out from here, you're going to miss the ball by about 3 feet. So the first move is the handle's going to go down. And if the handle's going down early, it means it has to go out to the ball late. And now all of a sudden you're trapped in this handle to right field for too deep into right field for 1 or 2 clicks of the camera too long before it cracks back again. And so that pattern generally leads to this face, handle path too far right and the face turning over. And so you do want to play a draw. I would definitely recommend getting a little bit more in the Rory McIlroy slot, a little more on the flat side. That's what we're going to work on next, is we're going to try to get that a little bit flatter, but then also coming back around to the left. So what we couldn't show you because we were looking at the other phone is he's going from here, and then he's exiting a little too straight ahead with the toe going over. And so we're going to get a little too much hook, maybe a little too much push. So what we're going to be after here in this next segment, we're going to be trying to just flatten this out just a hair. We'll do that first, and then we're going to try to see if we can get that thing coming around to the left on the exit a little bit more, just improving the shape of the swing. Let's do a couple more with just our basics first. So turn the grip. We're going right field with the shoulders in your mind, and you're going to swing rightwards without turning the toe over as much. Okay, great. So very predictable miss with this shape of swing. Great for a lot of you out there. This is to be a fantastic ball flight because it's going to go really far off the driver. So you get that ball turning over and flat without a ton of backspin, really high ball speed and smash factor. You're going to see that ball really run and run and run down the fairway. And if you're a bogey golfer, you can make these changes we've just made. Leave any comments or email me, steve@hititlonger.com, if you need a little bit more help in doing these basics we just did. So the grip, the shoulder squaring up, and the path being, remember we were 4 or 5 degrees out to in, so we had some to spare. So it feels to him like he's swinging more inside out now, and we have completely changed the miss. We've completely changed the sound of impact, and the distance the ball's going has gone up from probably about 12 to 15 yards carry distance on average here. Okay, our next project is, and you're going to tell me when you start feeling overloaded here, because we're all, Rish can absorb, he's like a sponge, but of course every human has their limit in how much they can do in 1/3 of a second. What I want you to do is simply make and I'll film one, I want you to make a flat backswing out of this same setup that we're doing. So just simply make a flat backswing. You don't have to hit it perfect on the first try. Just do anything relatively flatter than normal and you win. Yeah, there's a really good ball there. So let's take a look at this one then. And again, I'll try to make these swings available to you as I cut this all up. So all we're looking for is, hey, did you swing it flatter than normal? That's all you have to do for a win. If you're trying to make a change, pat yourself on the back even if you made just a small change. Okay, that's looking better. Can you swing flatter than that?
Yeah.
This is getting close. This, and I'll hold this up, see if you can see it on the camera. This is what I would start to call now in the ballpark. So anybody at home, we're not don't have to be super technical. If you're just playing, 5 handicap, 15 handicap, this is perfectly fine. What we're looking at here is the left arm just a bit above the shoulder line. It's in the ballpark now. Is somebody out there winning $1 million a year doing it this way? And the answer is usually yes. That's a great question to ask. Anytime you think you're doing something in a strange or unique way, there's probably somebody making $1 million doing it that way. So hopefully you can see that. What we're going to shoot for is getting just a little bit flatter than this. It's going to be helpful, I think. Okay, so whatever you just did there, you're going to win the game here. So if you're playing in Vegas right now and you got your money down, you just have to swing flatter than that and you win. Thanks for the likes, everybody. Appreciate everyone kind of checking in and watching. Rish and his journey to becoming, I don't know, a pro golfer someday, maybe. Who knows? Okay. You know what I really liked about that one, and this is a great lesson for everybody who's working on their swing too, is you might not even know what you did. Maybe you did. You kind of slowed it down and you kind of took a little off.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before. It's a really big key to learning how to get better and swing differently is don't go out and do full swings and try to hit it hard and expect that you're going to make an appreciably different golf swing. You really want to gear back a few. Now you geared back maybe 15 yards there.
Yeah.
And that certainly looked dead in the slot to my eye. That was a really, really good looking backswing. How are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10? What's your overload level? Like 7 would start becoming, oh, this is starting to get too complicated. Where are we at
5.
right now? 5. So he's a sponge though. He's at peak myelinization right now. In other words, he can absorb the most information the fastest he's ever going to in his whole life. And it's going to take all us slow old guys, 10 times as many golf balls and practice swings to do half the stuff he's doing here. So just to recap, we had path is too outside in, we had too much spin loft, and the ball was leaking to the right and not going as far as it should. This is a lot of people who are watching right now have those things going on. Ball spinning right, spinning up in the air. Off the driver, you'd get almost no roll, right? The ball would come down and almost plug. Start to see some of that. So we strengthened the grip, we squared up the shoulders, just fundamental things that were starting to slip. We were swinging a little bit more into out feeling, and now we're starting to swing with a flatter left arm. Let's see that again. I'll film this one, and I really want you to hit the slot. So this is going to feel, pretty darn flat to you, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, square up and flat. So remember, that it's a horrible shot. How dare you embarrass me in front of all these people, nice people watching out on the internet. by hitting a drop kick hook like that. No, great swing though. Let's take a look. Now I'll hold this up for you if I can. Okay, we'll just get rid of some of these extra frames here. Look how long it takes old iPhones to prepare a video. It's crazy how slow they were. Ah, okay. So I really like this now. And so the highlights of this, you can see your left arm is pretty much draped straight across the shoulder line. You can see the club face is square to your arm. I know it probably feels really closed now.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire swing. You strengthen your grip, the club face is going to feel really closed right as you take it away. It feels very awkward at first, but as I'll show you here, so really nicely done there. Really well done. This is really good start. So just to hold this up, and hopefully there's enough, there's the right lighting, everybody can see this at home. You see what we're looking at? Even though the grip feels very strong to him, the club face is not closed. The club face is dead square. See how it's parallel to the left arm? And his left arm is right on the shoulder line. It's no longer above the shoulder line, which is okay, but for the shot shape we want, which is maybe a little bit of a draw, a lot of distance, somebody who's 110 pounds trying to compete with essentially grown men who might be 18 years old, bombing it these days. Everybody who's that age and who's any good is just absolutely killing the ball. So this is an outstanding position at the top of the swing. Let's see that again. Again, thanks for everybody for kind of hanging out with us. And thanks so much for all the thumbs up. That's really nice of you. Thanks for hanging with us. All right, hit that flat spot again. Yeah, good slot. And again, the sound. You did not appear to swing. You took a little off.
Yeah.
You know, like what they say a pitcher does when he fools the batter with a changeup. He takes a little off in his effort to make a change. But I'll bet you that was a high rated strike, wasn't it? 9 out of 10.
9, yeah.
Yeah, at least 9. Really good strike. I'll bet you that ball went farther than any shot you hit in your warm up, even though you took a little off, because that ball was just. The peak height is down, the spin is down, the smash factor is up, so the compression is up. This is awesome. I'll show you, and we've worked on this before Rish kind of caught a roadblock here with a couple of fundamental things. Slipping, which at home, no matter how good of a golfer you are, if you want to maintain that level, you have to go back and review fundamentals in the mirror or have a second pair of eyes on you. It doesn't have to be a pro, but somebody knowledgeable can say, hey, Jack, your grip's looking a little different. It's looking a little weak. Remember this, if you're watching the videos, you remember this here, this hand path idea, like this, okay? So it peaks around the right thigh. And so this is kind of a little bit what we're going for now. And so you can see before he was coming down and across, which would look like this. And so that has no curve. It has a upwards curve, vertical curve, but it doesn't have a horizontal curve so much. Okay, and now he's looking a little more like this. So we've shallowed it, right, with flatter backswing at the top, and we're heading a little more inside to out, which is great, but we don't have the curve here now. So that's ultimately what we're going to be talking about here in a second. If Rish could absorb even a little bit more, this is a lot. This is like 6 to 10 hours of instruction for the average person, but he's going to be doing it all in a little over an hour. So, but this curve of the hand path, to have enough horizontal, is absolutely the key to playing good golf and hitting the ball straight all the time, because you don't have to manipulate the face if you have the handle of the club curving around you horizontally enough. So right now he's still having to turn the toe over a little bit, because although this half of the handle is great, but it's exiting a little too straight ahead. So let's see if we can trick you into feeling, again, without having to put any constraints with sticks and noodles and everything. Why don't you back up for a practice swing? And I want you to make the flattest backswing that you could ever thought could ever be viable. And now slowly swing back down under this noodle and feel what it feels like to exit sharply around to the left like that. Now, you have to take a little off, of course, but now what I'm trying to do is get him to feel much more of a horizontal curve to the hand path. Right field, we're going to go flat and exit left. Flat, exit left. Ah, okay. Good stuff. Really, really nice looking swing. You feeling at that speed anyway that you can kind of manipulate what you're doing a little bit?
Yeah, that felt nice.
Okay. So we've been here before, at least with this hand path stuff. We'll do one more slow-mo video here. And if you're still hanging around, we're going to hit some drivers. Going to watch this kid. He's, you know, for pound, you're going to be very jealous at how far he hits the ball here. All right, so we're going to go flat, and then we're going to exit low left. So stronger grip, turn right, flat backswing. Yeah, that's a much better shaped golf swing. I know you missed it, but let's take a look at that one, and I'll show everybody at home in a second.
I feel like I could have got more left on that one.
That's probably a good guess. But see, before you didn't have a lot of horizontal curve to the path. So now, good stuff there. Now we need to get that thing. It's better, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. So let me show everybody at home here. If you can see this, if not, then leave me a comment that you couldn't really see this. It might be too dark, but so club's in a good spot. Now we want to get that exit cracking around to the left. See, it's a little bit to center field and at the top or slightly above the shoulder. Release is way better than it used to be. So we're going to work on that a little bit more as we go. So what would you expect to see out of this? We'd expect to see some pushes and hooks is all, but nothing too drastic. So now we're starting to really dial in. And thanks for hanging around. We're going to hit some drivers here right after this one. So if you're still, we're going to check out how far this ball is going to be hit. Okay, let's take it back again into that super flat position, almost exaggerating it. Keep going. And now very slowly start to come down without hitting. Okay, really hard. Not an easy task to combine those two things. Let's give one more 6-iron. We'll finish out with a few drivers. Take a little off and do your best. Turn rightwards. Shoulders are nice and square now. Good. Try again. Shape's pretty good. I think you can get your pivot and weight shift 10% more out in front. Very easy to start messing up sequence when you're thinking about making this big of a change in the shape of the swing. So rightwards, good. Now it's a little flatter arm swing. Yeah, you're really on track with that. So there we have a ball now that is about 170, 175 in the air and dead on the target line. So we're starting to control the plane. We're starting to control the face. Excellent. Nicely done. A little stronger grip, especially the right hand. A little more rightwards. I know this is so much for most everybody out there. It's not what I would do with most people. Flatter. And around. Oh, there we go. So good. There's 2 in a row, just dead straight on the flag. Get absolutely less backspin. In other words, the correct amount of backspin, but much higher in compression and smash factor there. And now, because we're now starting to control the hand path and control the plane, come over here for a second, just turn this way for a second, come over with me. And what we're talking about is is how much of this do you have to do? How much do you have to twist the shaft? And so someone who's coming on kind of a suspect hand path, who maybe tries to draw the ball, you might have to look like that in your follow through a lot. And so the club is going from open to the path to close to the path. You can see the logo, the red logo on the grip here, and watch if I just twist this. I've twisted that 90 degrees, it's on the side now. Now this starts to become problematic. For those of you who are slicers or higher handicappers, sure, knock yourself out. If you're not a big hitter and you need to get rid of the slice, this is an arrow in your quiver that you can use to get rid of your slice, certainly. But once you start scaling this swing out to 250, 300 yards, you're gonna have to use a technique that keeps that shaft logo facing up more, which is more square to square like this. Now, if you take away the twist though, you're gonna need to make up the square face by getting that horizontal curve working on the handle that will help you square it up really nicely. Okay, last one. So now he's really looking good. All right, nice and square, good grip. We're gonna go flat and around. Okay, just a little right, but still flying out there farther. Let's go to hit some drives for everybody before they have to go start looking for supper. Doing outstanding though. So if you're just tuning in, this is Rish, scratch golfer, 2.5 years only playing, so the ceiling potential is absolutely tremendous. Hopefully some of your friends are watching Rish, that'd be awesome. Hit like if you are getting value out of this, or you're just cheering for Rish to do good things. We'll be starting 9th grade very soon. He's actually a football player.
Yeah.
First. He's playing like Pop Warner level football last year, and he's playing against much bigger kids. He was like, just a year ago, he was like 95 pounds, playing cornerback, and he gets a running back coming around the corner on a sweep and hits a brick wall. Rich just comes up and just stuffs him in place, doesn't even move another inch when the contact's made, at 95 pounds. He's squatting 225 at 115 now?
110.
110 pounds, he's squatting double his body weight. So you can see the potential for power he's going to have in a year or two when bones keep growing, muscles keep growing. All right, we're gonna we'll back off a little bit. Let's see if we can make kind of the same swing here. The problem with growing so fast, of course, maybe you can remember when you were younger, is outgrowing your clubs. Just like your shoes, you're outgrowing your clubs like every 6 months. That's the problem that we're having. Okay, all right, so we're gonna go recap. We're gonna go stronger grip. We're gonna square up the shoulders instead of being way open. And you're gonna have the feeling that you're swinging a bit more inside to out. So let's start with that right there. So turn right a little bit more. I bet you it's gonna feel more weird on the driver, Rish, so hold it there for a check. There's another thing for people at home who are trying to get better. You can do an 8 or a 9 iron and changes can feel not so bad. Like, I think I can do this, but then get a driver out and see how fast you revert to what's comfortable, because the caveman part of your brain gets involved. You know, the driver's supposed to go way out there. Nobody really cares how far you hit a 9. So we're gonna do a quick grip check. And for him, we know that the right hand is tending to be the more resistant hand to change. So this is only half as much as we were doing with the other clubs, but it's okay for now. And again, we'll check. See, the shoulders are a bit left. We're gonna turn them a bit more square, which to you now feels more awkward than it did on the 6. Would you agree?
Yeah.
It feels more awkward to do exactly the same thing on the driver. All right. Since this is going to be moving fast, let's just go for that flat arm slot here, and we'll win. Okay. So Rish is now coming up in the 93, 94, 95 mile an hour territory with the driver. And so we'd be looking for good hits to go 260 to 270, maybe even a touch over 270 yards. Not on average, that's not on average, but on a good strike. Okay, turn right slightly. Now, let's see you hit that flat feeling arm slot. That's a big ball there. So we've got a nice high, low spinning draw down the left center. Probably looking at 270 yards there with the rollout. We're looking at about somewhere in the neighborhood of 235 to 240 carry with about 270 on the rollout. So really big hit. You think about somebody who's 110 pounds, you're gonna hit at 270. This means he's doing a lot of things mechanically well rather than having to, you can't brute force it. You don't have enough muscles to brute force it. So got to rely on angles. So now that we've got the grip stronger, we're going to reduce spin loft. We're going to swing right, more rightwards and upwards, and that's going to increase the smash factor and the compression, lower the spin rate. Turn right more than you think is necessary, and hit that flat arm swing. One. All right, that's great. So you're gonna show me a little more rightwards. That's really square. A little more, a little more. There, that's square. Yeah, big hit. So again, we have a high, little bit of a toe draw into the left side of the fairway. Again, that is, 16 launch, 2,000 spin, high spin, or low spin, high launch bomb out there. That's what you're looking for to get distance. It's a really, really big difference to your distance, you guys, if you're hitting low launch and high spin, or you're hitting high launch with low spin. Basically what all the pros started trying to do, 15, 20 years ago. Turn right more. Flat. There's that same shot again. So that probably ends up like a yard into the left rough, but it's absolutely bombed. He's now doing the opposite of what we started off with. So the last couple times he's played, the miss was kind of a low climbing, fading ball that wouldn't roll very far and would get killed by the wind because it had too much spin. So again, low launch, high spin is already distance deprived compared to what he's doing now. So this is much, much longer hits, the same speed. There we go. Let's just pipe down the middle with about a 10-foot draw. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if that's working its way out over 270. Again, we're looking at probably 240 carry and maybe 272, 273 with the roll. Very high launch, very low spin. So ball gets up quick and then tumbles and flattens out like it's on a parabolic arc. Outstanding ball flight, and I bet you would have kept up with those older kids you were playing with those, huh?
Yeah.
You would have been only, what, maybe 20 behind them with that?
Yeah.
Instead of like 50? So big difference. Let's give them one more good one. Why don't you put a couple more miles an hour into this one? Again, I want you to turn right more than normal and turn your right hand under a little more than normal. Okay, now we're just hitting that flat spot at the top. So good, just crushed. Absolutely piped down the middle with that same 3-4 yard draw. What a great way to finish. What a great session. So if we had more time, thanks everybody so much for hanging around and just hanging out with us today. You can see eventually, now as this won't scale, you see, remember you had a few shots that were kind of drawing towards the left rough there. If we looked at the hand path on those on video, he doesn't have this anymore because he's not coming down and across. He's coming, you know, more shallow from the inside now, like this, but we probably don't have this half of the curve coming back around to the left. And so when you come out this way and you don't have as much curve and the curve doesn't continue, it kind of flattens out at the end. Give me just your left hand on it. We'd get a little bit more of this release here. Notice, watch, I'm gonna move the handle to center field. We're gonna get a little more of that toe over release. And so if you wanna really become a long hitter, you gotta make sure that your swing will scale for accuracy. The club face needs to get on a tighter range consistently the farther you hit the ball. It's just the geometry of it. So for now at 270, you know, he's in play all the time. He's gonna crush it. He's gonna be shooting under par here, and he's gonna push his handicap below scratch. So we're looking at 110-pound golfer was a football player originally, and he's a scratch golfer within 2.5 years of playing golf, which is, I know there's a lot of people that are just watching this going, wow, that's insane. You know, I can't even dream of that, and I've been playing for 40 years, right? Most people would say. All right, let's send them off with one. You're just gonna put a little backbone into this one. Put some 225 squat into this one. And you go stronger grip. We're just, okay. Square up shoulders, which feels more on the driver. And now all you gotta do is hit that flatter arm slot at the top and you win the game. Well, so there's the opposite, which we like to see. We like to see hard swings because we want to see what's going to fall apart. And then we have the push just barely into the right rough. It's not in severe trouble, but you can see why we have to keep squaring the club face within a tighter range by manipulating that hand path so that there's less shaft twist through the impact zone, which is going to give us just consistent straight results. We'll stop here. Hey, wave to everybody. Thanks so much for the tips and the super chats. If you have any questions, I'll certainly answer them down in the comments later when I get home. We're not set up for us to look at comments or anything or super chat stuff right now, but some people donated to your cause, and we're real happy to do this for everybody. We're excited to see how this turns out, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again so hey, thanks again for stopping by and just hanging out with us for a little bit. We'll probably just hit a few more here, but just remember what we covered today. Hopefully you got a tip or two out of it that relates to you. I know it's hard to relate to Rish because he's kind of a phenom, but yet there's still a lot of lessons out there to be had for even the average golfer. So I'm gonna sign off for now.
I think we should send him off with the big one.
Send him off with a big
here.
one. Okay, Rish is gonna send you off with a 280-yard drive here. Turn right, flatter arm swing behind you, and smash city. Show off. Right down the middle, show off. Okay, thanks again. Hey, I'm gonna drop a video Monday. It's gonna help a lot of you a lot. It's a really cool video. It's only like 6 minutes, so you don't have to hang in this long, but look for that on Monday morning. And have a great weekend in the meantime.